Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has warned the United Nations that it risks irrelevance unless it undergoes sweeping reforms. Delivering Nigeria's message to the 80th United Nations General Assembly in New York, the president, represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, outlined a bold reform agenda, positioning Nigeria's economic reformation as a model for the developing world. Mukhtar Kashim reports. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has posthumously conferred the national honor of Commander of the Order of Niger on the late Ogoni leaders Albert Bade, Edward Kobani, Theophilus Orage, and Samuel Orage, collectively known as the Ogoni Four. Of 5, the recognition announced at the State House in Abuja was part of the President's remark while receiving the report of the Ogoni Consultations Committee. Tinubu said the move honors their role in Nigeria's history and urged Ogoni people to embrace reconciliation, unity, peace, and development as the government commits to environmental remediation and economic revival in the region. Nigeria has congratulated the Republic of Guinea-Bissau on its independent anniversary, with Foreign Affairs Minister Ambassador Yusuf Metama-Tuga extending warm wishes to his counterpart, Carlos Pinto Pereira. The ministry, in a statement signed by its spokesperson, Kimebi Imumtibi Ibiefa, said the anniversary reflects the resilience of the Bissau-Guinean people and reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to stronger ties in peace, governance, trade, security, and cultural cooperation, including through ECOWAS, AU, and the United Nations. It further noted that Nigeria remains ready to deepen relations, explore new areas of mutual benefit, and continued collaboration with Guinea-Bissau in pursuit of regional stability, economic growth, and shared prosperity. First Lady Oluremi Tinubu says her 65th birthday fundraiser for the long-delayed National Library project has so far generated 20.4 billion naira. Speaking at the State House Conference Center, Abuja, Tinubu dismissed suggestion that the initiative, tagged Oluremi at 65 Education Fund, was politically motivated, describing it as a love project born out of her passion for education. Sadia Yakubo has the details.
First Lady Oluremi Tinubu said this fund, supervised by the Federal Ministry of Education and the Chief Librarian of the Federation, will remain open until December 2023 to accommodate more donations. The First Lady explained that the contributions would help revive the Styles 12-story library complex in Abuja, which has suffered decades of delays since its approval in 1981 and is currently only 40% complete.
That is why if we take our baby steps in well-doing, before long things will begin to shape up for our beloved nation. We all have to rise up, play our part in the building process. A grain of sand and a little drop of water makes a mighty ocean.
The First Lady recalled her past philanthropic efforts, including raising 50 million for the National Sickle Cell Foundation, 200 million for the New Era Foundation, and building schools in Liberia. She, however, expressed confidence that the project, considered national treasure, will be finished within 2 years.
What is wrong in doing well or trying to build a society? If I could assist the post-war building process in Liberia by donating the Oluremi Tinubu Elementary and Junior secondary school in Montserrado County in Liberia? What is wrong in drawing attention to some of the areas of need in our beloved nation?
Oluwemi Tinubu acknowledged support from the President, the Vice President, former leaders, former First Ladies, National Assembly members, state governors and their spouses, business moguls and members of the public.
The federal government has announced Nigeria at 65, all hands on deck for a greater nation as the theme for the 2025 Independence Day celebrations. Officials said the theme reflects Nigeria's resilience since 1960, while urging unity, patriotism, and collaboration among citizens, institutions, and stakeholders to build peace and prosperity under the Renew Hope agenda. Events making the celebration include a Jumat prayer on September 26, a church service on September 28, and a World Press Conference on September 29 in Abuja. The federal government has directed that all academic credentials in Nigeria must now be verified under a new national database beginning October 6, 2025. A circular by Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, said the reform, handled through the National Credentials Verification Service under the NERD program, will assign each verified qualification a unique credentials number and security code. He explained that no appointment will be confirmed without clearance, stressing that the measure ensures all certificates are traceable, authentic, and earned from accredited institutions. The Independent National Electoral Commission has approved the commencement of campaigns ahead of the 2026 Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections. In a statement, National Commissioner Sam Olumekun said campaigns from September 24, 2025 until February 19, 2026 in line with the Electoral Act and INEC's election timetable. The Commission warned that all political parties and candidates must comply strictly with the regulations and the Electoral Code of Conduct. You are watching the live broadcast of the Midday News. When the Midday News returns, Tinubu urges Commonwealth to award 2030 games to Nigeria. Details coming shortly, plus business and foreign stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back from that break. Now let's take you to the world of business, where the Federal Inland Revenue Service says government borrowing will continue as part of Nigeria's long-term economic strategy. The executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Zach Adedeji, made this known while addressing State House correspondents in Abuja. That borrowing should not be seen as a weakness, but as an integral part of the country's fiscal plan. Uyi Agbomofuegbe has details.
The executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Zach Adedeji, explained that every national budget is built on a mix of revenue, expenditure, and borrowing. According to him, loans are not used for salaries, but for investments that will serve future generations, such as infrastructure projects. Adedeji insisted that borrowing remains essential to balance revenue gains with long-term national development goals.
By that time, we will have harmonized all the taxes, reduction in corporate tax rates, budget and spending reforms. Mr. President just finished meeting now with National Assembly to make sure that now that the fundamental is set, how do we have or continue to have the budget that works for all Nigeria?
The FIRS boss explained that federal revenue collection rose sharply to 3.64 trillion naira in September 2025, a 411% increase from 711 billion naira recorded in May 2023. He noted that the jump was largely driven by higher non-oil income, streamlined tax reforms, and improved compliance.
The total accretion to Federation as at May 2023 is 711 billion. That is what we made. As of September, which is last month, you see the total accretion is 3.6 trillion. That is increase of 411%, which is just as a result of the economic reform decision that Mr. President has taken. And then when
Adedeji maintained that with reforms already boosting collections, borrowing will continue to complement revenue growth. A move, he says, is necessary to secure Nigeria's long-term economic stability. Uyi Agmofwegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
The House of Representatives says it will ensure transparency and accountability in the federal government's Naira for crude oil policy. Speaker of the House, Tajuddin Abbas, made the pledge at the inauguration of an ad hoc committee to oversee the policy's implementation. National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick reports. Video that report in our subsequent bulletin. Over the years, tricycle operations in Kano State have replaced the popular taxi, effectively creating jobs and feeding thousands of youths across the state. In this report, Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin takes a look at the tricycle business in Kano's transportation sector.
An estimated 60,000 tricycles operate within Kano metropolis on a daily basis, effectively creating jobs to over 100,000 youth in the state. Although some criminal activities are committed using tricycle, but residents in Kano believes that it is the easiest and fastest means of transportation in Kano.
Tricycle is very important because it helps our children to become gainful, employed rather than involved in criminal activities.
Anas Ahmad has been riding for over 15 years, during which he was able to build a house and have a family. Anas and several other riders are now the great beneficiaries of tricycle operations in Kano.
Tricycle is helping a lot. I am helping my parents and other several under me. I have worked under several people, but today I own my own tricycle.
But there are problems. Some see this means of transportation as a means of committing crimes and addition to traffic-related offenses.
It is true, several crimes like phone snatching are committed using tricycle. Sometimes you will enter tricycle with bad people who are dangerous and may collect your belongings.
Be that as it may, tricycle operations in Kano seems to have come to stay, especially now that there is no any other means of transportation better than Keke Napep in Kano. From Kano, Idris Jibrin reporting for Global Television News.
On the foreign scene, in Malawi, President Lazarus Chakwera has considered defeat in last week's election, clearing the way for opposition candidate Peter Mutharika to return to power. The announcement came even before the Electoral Commission released final results. Mukhtar Kasim reports.
Chakwera, who first came to office in 2020 after defeating Mutharika, acknowledged in a national address that his rival had built what he called an insurmountable lead. The 70-year-old leader from Malawi Congress Party faced mounting criticism over the economy, with soaring inflation, rising food and fertilizer prices, and accusations of mismanagement dominating the campaign.
Fellow Malawians, 2 nights ago, the Malawi Electoral Commission announced the validated results of the presidential election from 11 councils, bringing their total to 24, with only the results of 12 councils remaining. From those official results, it was clear that my main rival, His Excellency Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika of the Democratic Progressive Party, had already secured an insurmountable lead and is the presumptive winner of the presidential election.
The president's 5 year in office was marked by economic turbulence in the largely rural, agricultural-dependent nation. Analysts say voters' frustration over the cost of living and job creation fueled Mutakira's comeback. Now, as Malawians await the official declaration of the results, Chakwera's concession has set the stage for a smooth handover and a new chapter in the country's democratic journey. Mukhtar Kasim, reporting for Global Television News.
Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs says sustaining its mission across the world comes at a high price, a reality the government must constantly contend with in order to keep the nation's diplomatic ties alive. Global TV Foreign Affairs correspondent, who had an exclusive interview with the spokesperson of the ministry, has the rest of the story. Speaking at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja, the spokesperson, Kimebi Imomotimi Ibiefa, explained that running the ministry is capital intensive, with much of the funding going into essential needs like accommodation and office spaces for Nigerian embassies abroad.
Maintaining the missions abroad is capital expensive in the sense that, one, you have to have accommodation for the embassy. Accommodation to the two key areas is, one, you must have accommodation for the office of the embassy. That is called the chancery. So you must have the embassy building, the chancery. Then you must have accommodation for the ambassador. So, and all these two accommodations have to be in prime areas in the capital.
He noted that despite the challenges, Nigerians in many countries are distinguished for their hard work and enterprise, often pursuing advanced educational qualifications that not only benefit them personally, but also contribute to the development of their host nations.
Give the Nigerian 6 months or 1 year. The Nigerian will go to school if it means taking online courses to improve himself. So instead of doing the physical labor in the construction site, before you know what is happening, he has transformed or translated to become a supervisor or a manager. So he will no longer be doing the physical work, but gradually it transited from being a supplier of labor to now becoming a management staff.
The spokesperson stressed that while financial demands remain a hurdle, the ministry continues to play a vital role in strengthening Nigeria's diplomatic relations worldwide. Ramsey Enoch Agbo reporting for Global Television News. Now to the world of sport. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has renewed Nigeria's bid to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games, describing the country as the gateway to Africa and stressing its readiness to make history as the first African host. The Games, making the event a century since 1930, will see Nigeria compete with India, which has also submitted a bid with Ahmedabad as its host city. Tinubu urged the Commonwealth to recognize Africa's central place in the future of global sport, with Abuja proposed as Nigeria's host city. Nigeria's senior men's cricket team, the Yellow Green, have lost their final warm-up match for the ICC T20 World Cup African qualifiers, falling to Zimbabwe by 47 runs in Harare. Zimbabwe set 177 runs for 5 wickets in 20 overs, while Nigeria struggled in the chase with 130 runs for 9 wickets, despite Vincent Adewoye's 40 off 29 balls and Peter Aho's 2 wickets. Led by coach Steve Tikolo, the Yellow Greens will now face Malawi in their opening qualifiers, with Namibia and Kenya also lined up in Group A as they chase one of Africa's 2 remaining World Cup slots. Zimbabwe have confirmed that their October 10 World Cup qualifier against South Africa will be played at the Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban, handing Bafana Bafana a 7th home game in the series after FIFA banned Zimbabwean stadiums over safety concerns. The decision came after earlier plans to host the match in Botswana fell through, further tightening the advantage to South Africa, who currently top Group C with 17 points, 3 ahead of Benin and 6 clear of Nigeria. However, FIFA is still investigating the eligibility of midfielder Teboho Mekona, meaning South Africa could yet face sanctions, while Zimbabwe remain bottom of the group with nothing to play for. That's it on Midday News. A quick reminder that Global TV is on D5 and Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using @Global TV NJ. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Thank you for watching.